Hi guys, it's Chris at Cork and Crown, back in my cider shed with some more cider to try. Just a middle-aged man in a shed talking to himself and drinking cider. What could be cooler than that? Not much. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about two ciders. Going crazy, two ciders. I realised I had two ciders that were very similar in very, very many ways. And I'd never had either of them before, so I thought, let's open them together. So that's what I'm going to do. So what are they, Chris? I'll tell you what they are. I will tell you. One of them is from Somerset. It's from Pilton. It's called Two Rivers, and it's a blend of John Gold and bittersweets, made by Martin Berkeley and Shepton Mallet. So this is dessert apples mixed with cider apples. And the other one is from Herefordshire / Kent, I believe. It is this one. Dabinet and Bramley. So the Dabinet comes from Ross-on-Wye. We know them very, very well. And the Bramley comes from Nightingale Cider, who I think I'm pretty sure they're in Kent. Tented in Kent. Correct, Chris. Well done. Thank you very much. So there you go. So this one is also a dessert apple blended with a cider apple, a bittersweet, a single varietal in this case, and a blend in the other case. But I thought, let's try them together because they may have similar characteristics or not. Let's find out. Which one shall we open first? Which one's the strongest? Okay, the Ross-on-Wye is the strongest. Let's go for the Pilton first. Let's go for the lighter one. So Two Rivers, because let's read the label, because it'll all be explained. This area is made from orchards that lie between the rivers Brute and Sheppey in Somerset. These two rivers link the small towns of Bruton and Shepton Mallet and encircle the village of Pilton, Glastonbury, Torr and an archipelago of apple orchards. They define a unique terroir famous for generations of West Country cider production. Crisp John Gold brings fresh green apple flavours, whilst an orchard blend of bittersweet varieties bring tannic structure. The keeving process has been used to preserve a natural fruity sweetness. Okay, so the bittersweets have been keeved. So they'll have some natural residual sugar. I'll read the label on the other one when I get to it. How's about that? Let's do it that way. Otherwise I'll just forget, because I forget stuff all the time. Let's open this sucker. So this just arrived today, and I got that one 2 days ago. Yeah, I've had either of them before. I think I'm doing the tasting with Ross-on-Wye on 24th online. I think that's in the box. In fact, the box is down there, but I can't be bothered to open it. So I think I'll be trying that again on Saturday night with Albert from Ross-on-Wye, digitally, if you like. Right. Let's pour it out. It's a light in colour, but it's got culinary apple in, dessert apple in, which will have very, very little tannin, if any. So it's not going to bring colour. It's the bittersweet to bring the colour. So that is, it's very pale. I don't know what the proportion is of bittersweet to dessert, but I would say, judging by the colour, that there's more dessert than there is bittersweet. But I might be wrong. That's just a guesstimate. So what we got there? We've got a nice gold. It's pale gold. Quite pretty, almost like a pinkish blush to it, but yeah, basically pale gold. Sparkling, obviously. I'm going to guess force carbonated rather than bottle conditioned. In fact, it must be. It's too bright, I'd have thought. Anyway, I presume it's force carbonated. Let's give it a sniff. So there we go. Yeah, there's that sort of slightly bright acidity, sort of malic character, I want to say. So malic character. In the background there is a very slight kind of sappy orchardness going on. Very subtle. But I feel like just below there's just a hint, the merest hint of like sauteed or baked apple or aged apple just in the background. Very, very vague. I'm going to try and decide if I would have known this had bittersweets in if I hadn't been told. That's what I'm going to try and do. But we had that Kingston Black the other day, a bit of sharp. It was like it was made from a Bramley, the one from the new. It was so light. It had all cider apple character for me, which is a shame. Let's give it a go. It's quite fizzy. Feels force carbonated. There is some tannin, not loads, but there is tannin there. And there's that kind of like bright, fresh, green, sort of malic apple acidity. That's what it was, like a green sort of acidity that you get. They're very subtle in the background. I mean, really subtly. There's just a hint of Keef cider. The merest hint of Keef cider. Really, I mean, it's really low down in the mix. You know, if this was a studio and it was a mixing desk, I mean, that'd be really low down in the mix. But it's just there. It's just there. Is there enough? Ooh, I think maybe there is. The combination of those flavours, that sort of green malic thing, or sort of bright Bramley character, or John Gold, sorry, in this instance, isn't it? John Gold, pardon me. With that just very subtle cleaved element, just residual sugar, it gives it a melon character rather than just a fresh green apple character. So it's making me think of melon, this. And I like melon. So I do not mind that. I do not mind that it tastes of melon. I'm going to guess that it's about, I don't know, I'm going to say like 80-20 blend. I mean, I could be way off the mark with that. That's just what my palate is telling me, that that's what it feels like proportionally. My brain's saying 80-20, you know, because I feel that the John Gold is dominant in this. But you know what? That tiny hint of Keef cider in the background, that tiny hint, for me, just gives it a tad more depth, just a little bit more depth. It's not quite as austere as some of like the East Coast style ciders can be, the Kent, Suffolk, you know, sort of style ciders. Doesn't feel Doesn't feel 6.3. This is a hot summer quaffer, this one. That's what this is. It's starting to warm up, so that's a good job, isn't it? So yeah, interesting. I'm going to be fascinated to see how the other one compares. Now I'm going to have to neck this because I didn't bring 2 glasses. Right. Come on, you. What does it say? A joining of worlds. Ross and Wise Dabinet fermented in Kentucky oak barrels. With its aromatic vanilla, gentle complex tannins, melded with Nightingale Bramley, with bracing acidity and delicious green sourness. We tried a dozen blends, but this one tells a story of east and west of Kentish and Herefordshire cider making. Brilliant. I like that. So, I didn't know the bit about the Kentucky barrel, but actually, they're Kingston Black in the Kentucky barrel. I have to say, I'm not a fan of things in Kentucky barrels generally. Or whiskey barrels generally. As I've said before, I just find sometimes you just throw it in there and it just tastes of whiskey. It just smothers the cider, you know, which is, for me, if you buy a bottle of cider, cider is kind of the primary ingredient. Everything else should just be there to emphasise it, you know, to highlight it, you know, to bring the best out of it. But sometimes it just masks it, and that pisses me off. But their Kingston Black, in probably the same barrels, I would have thought, was great. I mean, it was really good. It was really good. I liked it a lot. So, let's open this sucker. Anything else before I do? Dabba dabba da. Press 2019 season, bottled September 2020. It's been in bottle about 6 months. Pop. Can't see what colour it is because of the green bottle. We're going to find out. It was a little bit. Got it. So let's have a look. So I'm going to guess this is bottle conditioned. And I would say, judging by the mousse and the fine bubbles there, this is bottle conditioned. So this is hazy whilst the other one was bright. Don't know if it was filtered. I mean, it's keeved, which is the fining process. John Gold, I'm going to guess it was filtered, but I don't know for sure. This, however, looks unfiltered. And me like that. It got a head on it, which it's retaining. Finer bubbles. So bottle conditioning is always going to give you a finer bubble. I mean, Martin Pilton, he will, you know, I think it's Pet Nat, his stuff, I think. Like the Tamashanta and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think it's forced carbonated. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But this is bottle conditioned. Look, it's keeping that head amazing, isn't it? Look at that. That's pretty cool. I mean, maybe it's a deeper gold, I would say. It's hard to tell because of the haze, but I think it's got a bit more... Pretty similar. If that was unfiltered, I reckon it would look quite similar to that. Maybe this has got a little bit more gold going on now. I think it probably has. Alright, so yeah, there you go. You've seen that. Let's smell it. Okay, there's more character of Dabinet, of cider apple in this. I don't know what the proportion is. didn't say, did it? But me thinks it's got a bit more of a cider apple character. A bit gassy after that, sorry. Ooh, maybe the merest hint of that barrel. The merest hint in the background is just there, which actually, great. If I can just detect it, brilliant. I'd much prefer that. I don't have too much of it. Yeah, there's a bit more of a roundness to this. You can smell it. You get that sort of green bracing, a sour acidity there, but it's mellowed massively by the Dabinet in the blend. Nice nose, this actually. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's that sourness. It just prickles your nose a bit. You know, it's there, but it's just in the background. Whereas it's the antithesis of the Two Rivers, where I felt it was the Keeve side. It was just there in the background. So with this one, what is it? The Bramley's just maybe taking the back seat a bit more. But let's try it and find out. Quite a subtle nose, but yeah, it's pleasant. Okay, this is dry, people. There is no keeving going on here. There is no residual sugar. It is dry. And yeah, woo, Bramley, like that green, malic, sour character. Almost like Green Gage or something. You know, that's what it's making me think of. Got a bit more of this. I want this to warm up a bit as well, because I feel like it's going to give more when it's a bit warmer. Yeah, you do get a hint of that barrel on the nose. Just a hint. Yeah, that vanilla spice thing. Just, yeah, it's there. It is there, for sure. Yeah, maybe a hint of coconut or something as well, I'm getting. So dry, which you'd expect from Ross and White. The Bramley's wild ferment as well. Cool. So it's all wild yeast with some oak, but sensitively oaked. It's not over oaky. That. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting like a coconut element as much as anything from the oak. It will be from the oak rather than from the Bramley. I mean, this is a more complex drink. It is hands down a more complex drink. It really is. This, I mean, if you look at the colour even, and the fact that this is bottle conditioned, it's got haze, you just imagine it's going to have a little bit more happening. However, they have thrown in like a barrel for extra, for good measure, with bourbon that's had bourbon in it, just to have an extra dimension. But Martin's keeved, he's blended, so he's got some stuff going on as well. But this is very dry. It's totally dry, quite acid. Nicer bubbles than the Two Rivers because it's bottle conditioned. It's a finer mousse, which I prefer, and masks the flavour less. Much more mouth-watering this than the John O'Gold, the Two Rivers. Just in the background though, there's just a hint of that. See, for me, I think I wanted on the nose. It felt like the dominant apple was the Dabinet. On the palate, it brings such, intense acidity, the Bramley, that it's the dominant experience on the palate, because that's that mouth-watering thing. It's so powerful. Yeah, interesting. I'm not a big fan of East Coast style cider. I just not. I can't help it. I've had some exceptional ones. And there are films of me trying them. Bushel and Peck coining, I think. Is that one of them? Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I tend to go for cider apples more. This is, I'm going to have to think about this and sip on it. Quite happily, I must say. Because it is bringing some East Coast Bramley to the party, big time, on the palate. And but look, it's making my synapses fire, isn't it? My 4 synapses are going crazy now because of that. That's always a good thing. That's what good food should do. It should make you think as well as experience the pleasure of consuming it. That's what I think anyway. All right. How's about that then? Interesting. So there's 2 ciders. One from Somerset, one from Herefordshire / Kent, made with a combination of cider apples and culinary apples. John the Gold in this case, Bromley in this case. And actually quite different beasts. So there you go, guys. How about that? So I'm going to be back tomorrow with more stuff to try, because I've got lots of things to try at the moment, and I'm looking forward to trying all of them. So I'm going to make a film every day, otherwise I have to wait, and I don't want to wait. All right, so as per usual, thank you for joining me. I hope you join me again, but until then, cheers. I'm back. I am back, and the reason I'm back is because I had a revelation. I kept on drinking those drinks. This guy, and well, you can tell I kept on carrying this guy because there's nothing left. And this guy, yeah, where is it? There you go. And actually this, after this, you really could taste the keeved element to it, because this is so dry. It made me realise how this was actually quite off dry. The keeved element was much more pronounced than I thought, and actually, I like that. Yeah. I think maybe it was a bit cold to start with, but as it warmed up, etc., it improved massively. So that actually, it's not 80-20 the blend. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a lot more bittersweets in there than I first thought. This guy, I was drinking it. What does it remind me of? What does it remind me of? And then it hit me. Lambic beer. If you like lambic beer, you will like this. Seriously. The Brussels, Belgian lambics, the wild fermented lambics and cool ships. That's what this reminds me of. It even looks like a lambic when I pour it out. So yeah, if you like lambic beers, wild beers, get some of this stuff, because that's what it's like. It's the closest thing I've ever had in a cider to a lambic, like a genuine Belgian lambic. So there you go. And I was inspired to tell you all of that. But now I've finished telling you all of that. So I'm going to stop telling you all of that and go away again. So as usual, thanks for joining me, and cheers.